both jamming to the music.
And why not?
Let's lift the vibration up. Lift the vibration up. Hi, Garry.
Hey, Trina. Hey, everyone. Woo.
Hey, welcome to Hegemony Revealed. And man, Gary's been gone a little bit, so it was Shahana and I, and now Gary's back, but Shahana's gone. So she's visiting her daughter, which is beautiful. So
Yeah.
We're holding the space for her with joy and with love, and hopefully she's watching and letting her know she's missed.
100%. And that's why we need to leave that picture of Shahana as the third part of this important team, right, on the opener. We're missing you, Shahana. Have a good time.
Yeah. So Garry and I were in the background, of course, as usual, kind of discussing and just reconnecting because it's been a while, and so much has already come up. And one of the things that Garry is really good at is not taking sides. I kind of like that aspect as we kind of dissect what's going on with hegemony. I realize how polarizing it can be, especially in the current affairs. And, it's like pick wrong, right, dark, light. But I always want to remind people we exist in a world of duality. And it's mostly, for me, it's mostly about transparency. So people know which direction to take their lives and to take their heart. So that's where I am with all the lovely chaos that's happening in the world. And I say lovely because it is.
May I ask, Trina, how's that showing up in your work for you personally and your clients at the moment? Because clearly when we started this project, this collaborative project between the three of us, only 4 or 5 months ago, so much has shifted even in that time. So I'm curious what's emerging for you and your clients in that short period.
My clients are, hold on 1 second. Sorry, my son has forgot that I am live and he's banging on something. So for me, with my clients, I think the most aware thing is the sense of fear, the fear of the unknown. Everything that the hegemony has built its foundation on has been these ideas and these situations of this is how to go and this is how to be safe and to be successful. And all of that is falling apart as a lot of them see that's complete BS. And so with my clients, one of the first things I have them look up, our very first session is, do you know what the word hegemony means? And the reason why I do is because this is a word and this is a structure I wish I understood so many years ago. I would have given myself a break. I would have loved myself a lot deeper had I understood there's so many structures in place to basically make me feel like crap. Okay. So for me, kind of getting my clients into a place of self-compassion is the number one step. And I think that should be everybody's step, no matter race, gender, whatever it is. There's these structures that have been always operating to create a lot of trauma and a lot of divide. And so, yeah, that's where I am with my clients about it. What about you? What about like your work that you're doing right now? I feel like Garry, you're on this edge because you're like, as you always say, in the belly of the beast. I'm wondering if the CIA and FBI got cameras on you and like
probably.
exactly. But how are you feeling in your space with all of this?
Yeah, it's really, thank you for asking. It's really interesting. So, for extra context for those that might be listening or watching back, so yeah, the belly of the beast, as we reference in Hegemony Revealed, is my day job is in chemicals. So, really in the belly of the beast, extractive industry. And I think what to answer your question, Trina, what is very interesting is that I'm finding light bulbs of people within sectors. So either my own sector or those we talk about up and downstream, so upstream towards oil, gas, and downstream towards when you manufacture glasses or pharmaceuticals or a pen, for example. So those whole global supply chains. I'm starting to find people that want to be in this conversation, Trina, that I couldn't
Mm,
12 months ago. So that is a noticeable shift. Now, I'm not saying they'd want to join us live in this conversation, but I
mhm,
think that gives me some real, I'm not going to say hope, clarity is a better word. It's a real clarity that the hegemony really is in a state of collapse in the
mhm,
West because these people are starting to go, oh my God, yeah. So I can't actually, my perceived security, the house I have, the job I have, the amount of money, I'll get that next bonus. Those things are actually all made up in my mind, aren't they? Yes, they are.
mm,
Yes, they are. And that's almost so it's a combination of fear, as you said, but also a combination of freedom. Again, that duality, that paradox of, oh, the more I can embrace this, the more I can let go of my clenched fists that I need to believe that the job will be there and the money will be there and the house will be there. When I can realize those are just things outside of me and how I navigate my inner world is going to dictate what happens outside. Like that is starting to come even within the extractive sectors. Very small pockets, but it's coming, Trina. It's coming.
Oh, that's so. I love to hear that. I love to hear how, different industries, especially one that is pretty demonized right now, um, by the people who are environmentalists. That you know, like what's going on in DRC is a part of that.
Yeah.
Extraction, and even in what's happening in Israel is due to the desire to extract as well. Because when I found out that there were huge gas and oil preserves right in Palestine,
Mhm.
and that there were a lot of British entities like BP, that were just salivating on getting a part of that with Israel. It tells a lot
Yes.
about it tells a lot. And so, you know, I think the biggest thing, you said, my takeaway from what you said is the clenching fists, the holding on, the holding on to illusionary concepts created by the hegemony on what success, what is peace, what is everything externally. These things are all external aspects. And when people start really kind of, what I've been saying lately is vibrate higher.
Mhm.
And because I'm a strong believer on the spiritual side, because I always work with mind, body, and spirit, alignment. And when I mean spirit, I mean the internal compass that is innate in all of us that has nothing to do with religion. It's just our inner knowing. Okay.
Beautiful.
And like everything on this planet that is in um, balance, like with every animal, it understands the electrical field and have instincts, and knows which direction to fly, and all these type of things. We have that too. We are just extremely distracted, extremely distracted. And there's a lot of forces, hegemony, that make sure we stay distracted from our inner knowing. It's
And isn't it, when you use that word distraction, another word we can use, right, is attention, right?
mm,
It's the same thing. Where do we focus our attention
mhm,
and where do we allow that to be distracted to and from, i.e., social media, i.e., the barrage of computerized technology, right? Western
right.
life. All of it is designed for us to stay busy and stay disconnected to ourselves from the inside out, right?
That's right. That's right. Can you imagine? Okay, so one of the things, this is a concept I just was sharing with a client of mine. I feel like my head's about to fall over. With a client of mine. She went on the deep end the other day and she was just really emotional about this. I don't know what to tell my kids. I don't know what to do. I feel like a horrible parent. I feel like this and that. I said, listen, stop trying to dictate and control your environment right now. Just be in it. Just be present within yourself and go back to your inner knowing. You have this is all downloaded on your DNA. You know where to go, what to do. Just go back to that quiet place within yourself. You don't know where that is. That's the problem. A lot of people don't even know where that is. Everything that has been co-opted by hegemony from meditation, from all kinds of spiritual practices. It's all been a co-option and disinformation campaign. That's how I look at spirituality right now. um, One of the things that's disturbing for me, and I'm going to bring this up, and I would love your opinion as a white male. Why is it all things spiritual in the realm of spirituality are currently led by white men? Why? And why is it that they think the majority should trust them?
Brilliant, brilliant question. And it's a very simple answer, right? And it's re-colonization. It's this reperpetuation of the same patterns. I always go back to Tema Okun's work, right, around the supremacy culture patterns. So fear,
Mm-hmm.
defensiveness, I am the only one. And that I
Mm-hmm.
am the only one pattern is the big one that's coming up in what you're describing, I think, which is we're so used to the one world, seeing that these people look like this that have power. They're the ones that will make things change. Whereas actually, with all due respect, we are the total people that need to get out of the way to allow those that actually don't look like us to help lead the change, because we don't have the knowledge, we don't have we've got to do our own work, is what I'd like to summarize. Like, we should not be at the wheel of change when we're driving a car off the cliff already. We want to put the handbrake on, put our hat on, say, sorry, bad mistake. I'll get in the back seat and let me
Mm-hmm.
listen and learn as you drive us forward, please, Trina, for example. Right? Because
Right.
that's, and I think that's the thing. It's a recolonization pattern. It's the same patterns that have gone on for hundreds of years. And it doesn't matter whether it's spirituality, whether it's business, whether it's setting up a permaculture farm. Yeah, it tends to be white-bodied people that are at the forefront, because that's what we're used to seeing at the front. Instead of,
Right.
we should be actively decentering ourselves. I like to decenter myself, and I'm learning to do that more and more. I don't always get it right, but there's two things. Yeah, we need to decenter ourselves and center those that have the wisdom, have the knowledge to help co-create new worlds, plural.
Right.
That's
And
my take.
it's one of those things that I just can't even, for the life of me, I don't understand why other people don't see that dynamic happening over and over and over again when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to what you just described, everything. And
Mm.
um, for example, DEI has failed miserably. Um, when George Foreman first died, or murdered, or was martyred, I like the use of that instead of murder, martyred. We the landscape of hegemony and patriarchy went, oh, this is so wrong. We're going to hire more black people, we're going to hire more women, minorities, and things like that. Now it's absolutely gone. And one of the reasons why is because I saw a huge influx of white men and women leading this march. I mean, how are you going to learn diversity, equity, and inclusion in the position of power that you are already in? How are you going to learn? How are you going to actually learn that emotional intelligence and empathy when everything is driven by you for you? So it's like, I don't understand. Well, I do understand. It's hegemony's way of saying, look, 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 we're going to do this good thing over here because we don't want everybody to go on the deep end because we still need you to work. We still need you to produce. But and we don't want a huge, massive revolt in a on that type of scale. Um, but how is it even logical? Uh,
I think it's sadly, and I think this is part of the collapse from my side as well, is that it's actually, whilst we're talking, I think, relatively positively that the hegemony is collapsing, we're starting to
mhm,
see the veil disappear. That's good for all of us, including those that got power who are in fear at the moment, right?
mhm,
On the flip side, there is this very weird paradox again. Everything's paradoxical, where
mhm,
within my sector, I won't speak for any particular companies, but I speak to people that work in different companies. And these topics of justice, of DEI, of true systemic change, they are at best got a tiny little table somewhere in the corner of the room. At worst, it's pure performance, as in
mm,
pure performance. So, because why do I say that, Trina? Because if we were really serious about it in the West, yeah, and I've written about this, you would redesign organizations to center justice, equity, inclusion by design so that everything you do and every decision you take is going to lead to reparations, land back, wealth back, redesign of a society that actually works for everyone, including those with power currently, but in a way that's healthy, connected, and co creative and decolonized. And that's not going to come until we shift the mindset of capitalist thinking towards well-being economy beyond just making money for the sake of making money and believing it's not just about us. And that's, again, comes back to those patterns for me, Trina. And it's not a big stretch. It's a lot of work. I want to make a clarification. There's a white man that's doing the work. I've
mhm.
been on this journey for 10 years, the last 3 years on a deep decolonization journey. It's like, it's not a quick fix. And this is the bit I want to seed back to you, right?
Mm,
This work isn't a quick fix, right, Trina?
right? No, of course. It's what I say to my clients. It took you, depending on their age, 40 something years to get to here. Why do you think it's going to be overnight for you to be quote unquote healed? You know, it's
Hmm.
going to be, it's going to be an intent every day and a deep awareness to take those steps for healing. And that's where, I agree with you. A tiny corner table is not going to solve this these problems. But one of the things I think that people do on a mass scale is we disempower ourselves and we don't think it's possible for change. I'm like, every time somebody says, well, that's just how it is, I said, well, then they've won. That's just how it is. I liken it to this. I always say we're led by psychopaths. And I say that because these particular people created and imagined a particular world which they're still trying to perpetuate on the masses right now. Um, by ways of violence, by deception, whatever you, whatever tool that's out there, they have used, and they are very good at switching directions when necessary. And but when you are out of it, when you're not like saying I'm on this side or that side, you're able to look at the dots that are created, oh, and connect them. Well, because we ask the question why would they do this, what has been their pattern, what has been, and guess what, they're not so intelligent that they come up with something new every time. They just shift the different tools around, you know, and they've been doing it for hundreds, maybe thousands of years. Who hegemony really is up for debate and question. Now that they have presented evidence of um, uh, what are they calling them now? UAPs and stuff like that. It's like for me, that is just like finally the admittance that we all need that this is not just a one species universe or plural verse, as Shahana would say. And
Mm-hmm.
we have such a narrow understanding of what that is right now. And I feel like I just can't trust what they are telling me because they're going to even turn that into something to their benefit because that's how they operate. So I don't know. What do you think about that aspect? What do you think?
Oh my God, it's so important, right? Because that self disempowerment.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to hold space for that in the moment. For anybody watching us live or watching this back, yes, there is privilege. I've got huge privilege just because of what I look like, where I was born. Yes, I acknowledge it. I try and use that to try and help break this stuff down, right? You've got different types of privilege. Someone else has got a different type of privilege, right? Being aware of that is a starting point. But that shouldn't be a blocker for me, Trina, to getting back into your body and starting to get a head, heart, gut connection that then is your power train to start asking more curious questions, to start meeting people that don't look and sound like you, to start joining webinars around, restorative justice, for example, even if it's something you've never looked at before. They cost nothing and it just takes an hour of your time. Mm-hmm. So I just want to really restate what you're talking about in that yes, there's hegemonic powers. They are awful. They are systemic. But that only works. The hegemony only works because we allow it to work on our behalf. If we took our power back from the system on the whole, i.e. believe in ourselves, high self-worth, high vibration, as you said, believe that we matter, believe that our voice matters, and come from that place as often as we can in our context, if we all did that overnight, the hegemony would collapse in 24 hours. So 8 billion people coming from that place, the energy would shatter the hegemony overnight. I'm 100% sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so positive of that. Matter of fact, think about all of the things that have come to light of late and how many people are rejecting it and how what would have worked 10 years ago is no longer working.
Yes.
No longer flying. And that collectiveness, that collective resonance is powerful. It does move things, it does make things happen because, like I said, the psychopaths created and imagined one world. And for a while, we went along with it. I will add that Black people never did.
Fair caveat.
We've been calling out BS from the jump. Nope, they're lying. This is not. But we had a few people who just were, I call the pick me's, and I just know that if we collectively changed our resonance and changed our purpose, we could move hegemony out. Of course, there will be always something to try to replace it. But I really do believe that we are vibrational beings. And just like every vibration, it has to match the right resonance to connect. So if you're up here and they're down here, they're not feeding off of your energy. But that's why the goal is to keep you down here all the time, to keep you struggle, to keep you miserable, to keep you feeling bad about yourself. That to me is the crux of hegemony right now. Make them feel the worst possible way about themselves, and they will continue to seek our validation. And then we can do whatever we want.
And let's bring that to life right now on the 29th of November. In the UK, there are new laws being created every day to expand the spending power of the UK big political parties for next year's general election. There's right to protest being suppressed at every possible opportunity. There's a new right-wing leader in the Netherlands who just literally came out with one of the most Islamophobic opening diatribes I've ever heard in my life, right? So all of this for me is, we spoke about this before as well, as horrible as that is and as painful. And again, I believe the work is to not react is to come back to where we are right now in this space together and go, that it's dying. Those are all signals, they're symptoms, but hegemony is collapsing. So do our best not to get pulled into it, stay out of it, find your people, observe it, learn from it, challenge it, but don't get pulled into it. Because it is collapsing. And I really see that as a really important observation from my side at the moment, anyway, in my context, Trina.
Yeah, and don't flip into fear about it. You know, that's one of the things that has been the tool is make everybody afraid and make everybody, you know, try to make everybody starve. But the truth is that us, the collective people, all we have to do is not share. You know what I mean? Like really. Oh, you're trying to take something away? There was a time when people were more egalitarian. This ruling class is new compared to how long human beings have been alive and living together collectively. You know, they tried, of course, change history in order to make that seem like, you know, we're born of sin and all these type of things. But I never believed that. I never believed that um, those gaslights about the innate heart of people. I just think people went into a deep survival mode and said, okay, well, this is how they're showing me how to be rich and wealthy, and that's what I want. Okay, I want to be like them. So just stop wanting to be like them. You know, like we always come back to the stop. Just stop doing that. It's not as complicated as we're actually making it. What it is that a lot of people have gotten comfortable with a certain type of lifestyle that they think is healthy, but every year is taking more and more lives, not just in our countries in the West, but globally. What do you think is going to happen if all of these, not just humans, all these species of plants and animals and everything die? We live in a collective. We don't live in a sphere of our own selves. Every single organism on this planet works together to create and keep the planet turning.
I've got to grab a book. I think I shared it before, Trina.
Sure.
You've inspired it. You've inspired it.
Okay, okay. Yes.
Ways of Being by James Bridle. Now, this is one of the most important things I've read in so long because it speaks about everything you've just described, which is human intelligence is just one of many ways of being intelligent, and intelligent beings are everywhere, and the majority are non-human.
Mm-hmm.
Back to what you talk about, Shahana talks about. And so it's just a real invitation. If anyone's interested to get super practical around what we're talking about today, this hegemonic collapse, have a look at this. It also dives into AI, which is one of our pet conversations as well. But
AI, it's just I don't even get into AI right now. It's another diversion, you know, uh, pulling away all of our attention to our inner capabilities. Honestly, we're all AI. We're all AI. You know,
beautiful.
most of these inventions didn't just come out of thin air. We created them with our imagination, which has been stunted, which has been taken away from us, which has been co-opted. If we took all of that creativity and we had moments of rest that we need to go inward to create our current reality, you know, what if we just all collectively said, okay, I want a different reality, and today that's all I'm going to focus on. Collectively, we all did that. Do you think it wouldn't happen? Yeah, of course it's going to happen.
Trina, the best thing is the best thing is a horrible time, but the best thing is we've got proof, right? It's called COVID. It's exactly what happened for 18 months between early 2020 through 2021. We was in a collective meditation, as well, of my network once called it.
Mm-hmm.
But look how quickly hegemony pulled us back in when we
Mm-hmm.
allowed it to. When we allowed it to.
Yeah, it
So
didn't work.
fully.
COVID didn't work. They really wanted us to, everybody's like, oh, this is great. I get to work from home. I got my own space. I'm feeling good. I don't have to deal with Brenda or whoever else
Yeah.
looking over my shoulder. And all that productivity goes up. And then, of course, now they're trying to gaslight us into saying, oh, no, we can't we can't be that productive. You've got to watch people. No, you've got to keep people in a state of low vibration and fear. And you do that by making them feel threatened, making them feel incompetent. We don't really need them. That's what it comes down to. We really don't need them. And I think if more and more people discover their self sufficiency, they'll be able to. And I go back to, I mean, self sufficiency. There's a reason they took away our ability to grow our own food and farm. There's an ability where there's a reason they gaslighted us into thinking land was a commodity rather than a right to be land. Nobody owns land. But the moment they gaslighted somebody into going, sure, I'll sell you this land. How can we own the land? You know, it just that's when all the structures were built around. You know, it's all just about the grand awakening rather than the great reset. Have you heard of this?
Yes, 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 yes. Because who does the reset? Who does a reset benefit? Exactly the same hegemonic structures, right?
That's right.
You want a reimagining, which is what a great awakening is, right? It's a great, it's a total reimagining.
Right. But they do the great reset every 100 years or so because we start to wake up. We stop being less blind. We start demanding transparency. So they rather just blow the whole thing up because they're good no matter what. They're good. I just watched this YouTube from a speech from the World Economic Forum. Now, I didn't really know much about this organization until late, and I'm like, God damn. If you can't see who is in charge of all of these little things, the audience alone, I don't care which country you're from, they were there. And quite frankly, I don't want to take, there's this false competition and separation between countries. Hegemony is every country, is every force that wants to stay in power. So I don't care if it's China, I don't care if it's Russia, I don't care if it's Ukraine, I don't care. The goal in that room of representation of multi-million and billionaires is the same. Keep the power.
And I just love your invitation here. World Economic Forum, G7, United Nations, World Bank, IMF, the list goes on. None of those organizations exist for justice and equity and reimagining, right? They're all part of an interconnected system to perpetuate hegemony. And I've never said it so clearly, but I know it so clearly these days, Trina.
Mm-hmm. 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 And the thing is that the education system doesn't really give you those nuggets. You have to seek that information, and that's why nobody knows what the word hegemony is. Nobody knows what the word hegemony is.
Like I didn't till 18 months ago, everyone, just so you know.
And it's been a few years for me, but still, I didn't learn it in school. And once you actually even get that, it's like bing, a light bulb goes on, just from word. And that tells you right now the power of words and the vibration of words, even the texture of the word hegemony. Hegemony, it has a texture to it that's even oppressive. And it has two words that are so close. Hedge, to press something into a corner. Huh? Money. Money. It's it's really obvious.
Would you mind, Trina, if I shared a couple of interesting insights quickly on the screen? There's one
Oh,
which is really, really good news. I
okay.
saw this come out this morning, which is one of the largest land back wins for the Amazon basin in many, many, many years. Over 3 million acres of ancestral land is basically going back to the indigenous people within the Amazon.
Wonderful.
Huge, huge, huge news on that front.
Hmm.
And this, I think, is just a small example. Again, it's got to happen yet. But the point is, there's something going on where there's a lot of, as you say, co-optation in the West, where it's like, oh, this is nice. Oh, the indigenous leader, yeah, indigenous ways, let's get back to nature. And that is all important, and yes.
Hmm.
But that is the culmination of many, many, many years of activism on the ground, loss of life, risk of life, to bring that into being. And
Yes.
I wanted to share that as a reality check for me as much as anyone else, that this is what's actually going on outside of our Western lenses. Like
That's
fights for survival under hegemony,
right.
to survive and live in a way that is in line with their own history, ancestry, etc. And we never hear about that, right? When we're trying to grow double digit, acquire a company, how do we expand our business? All of that's Western narrative, degenerative narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then I see news like that and go, that lifts me again vibrationally, like, wow, how
Hmm.
just incredible result. And again, I'm learning all the time. This land back movement is a particularly important one, right, in the global south, to make sure that those stolen lands over many, many hundreds of years get returned. So I just wanted to share that with you as
That's
an uplifting bit of news today. So
that's amazing. And I'm telling you, that was, like, as you said, a collective effort of people putting their energy, putting their time, putting their lives on the line to correct course. That land, though maybe not owned by the people, definitely was not owned by the corporations. You know what I mean? That was their lifeline. That's their survival. That's their clean water. That's all of the things that are being polluted on the planet. And I never really considered myself much of an activist. I'm a lifeivist. That's not a word. I just made that up. But I just believe everything deserves life, because when it lives, I live. When it thrives, I thrive. We have it so backwards on this planet. We have it so backwards. I've been writing a book the past 3 years, um, and connected book about, I won't tell you too much about it because it's not done yet, but it's about all that connection between what we don't see with these eyes, but with this eye, and how everything that we eat and everything that is fed to us by these hegemonic forces blind us to what is really important, and also bind us from being the powerful beings and manifestors that we are. You know, we have to just remember that, and not just say it, be it, you know? Um,
just amazing, Trina. We're missing you, Shahana, and we hope you're getting some value out of this if you're watching live or watching back. I always get value being with this amazing human, Trina, honestly.
wow.
But I just want to capture imagination, remembering, inside out power. None of that cost you a dime, people. Yeah, you might want to get help from the likes of a Trina to, work with you one-to-one or something. No, generally it's not a sales pitch, but like some people, people need help. I've still got my coaches that help me through this process. But the point is, the starting place is ourselves, right? It's the will, it's the desire to go on that inside-out journey, which is going to bring so much value to you and the ones, those loved ones around you, and in the end to the world. But it is, I've got a hashtag, and I'm not ashamed of it. Change is an inside job. Absolutely. That is the hashtag I put everywhere because I genuinely believe it is, Trina.
Absolutely. And just think about this. And I say this for all the people who are conflicted about religion and these type of things that, I basically reject. There's a reason why Hegemony co-opted that first. There's a reason why they co-opted that first. They had to silence and chain the powers that you truly are, and so that they could take it and direct it for their goals and their aims. I'm telling you, you're a powerful being. You're a powerful being. And I have been on the highs and the lows of this journey. And I can tell you, it always comes back to this every single time. And when I'm centered and I'm balanced in me, I always say the universe always aligns in my favor. So, yeah, let's focus on that.
Feels like a pretty powerful, intuitive place to stop for today. What do you think, Trina?
Sounds perfect. Sounds good.
The invitations remain open to you out there. If you're someone that's feeling this, want to be part of this, let us know. As you can see, it's a different type of chat show. It's a deep experiential exploration, and we continue to do this every 2 weeks. And every Wednesday is our intended cadence. And I guess what we've learned a bit, Trina, as well, is that as much as we want to do it, the three of us as the co-hosts with a guest, it's as important that we keep the momentum and the cadence going as much. That's as important it is having us all together. And that's our intention, I believe.
Exactly. And I would also like to throw it out there. My sister, Elizabeth Leba, and I are doing a Friday exploration. Every Friday, we're talking about, you might find this interesting, white rage and narcissism, how they connect. And so it's a exploration as well on Fridays as we try to kind of continue to break the veil. But we're being very specific about narcissism and how it all connects to everything. So, yeah.
Ooh, that's amazing. And where would that be, Trina? Is that on Elizabeth's LinkedIn Live? Or
that's on Elizabeth LinkedIn Live. So you should be able to see that and join us. Last time we had over 250 people on the live, and great questions. And I'd like to get an invitation for more people to come into Hegemony Revealed, because we're talking about something in a different way. I think we're talking about it in a much kinder way, than most people would. Because I know there's a lot of anger, and I know there's a lot of fear and a lot of pain. So what I'm trying to, me and Garry and Shahana are trying to balance that energy and vibrate higher. So.
Yeah, beautiful. And as always, right, Trina, never with judgment, only with presence and grace as best as we can, right? Because anger is totally valid. However, from our point of view here in this space, we're seeking to co-create new narratives, and that's the objective, right?
Okay. Thank you for joining us today, everybody who's here and whoever's watching the playback. Please share, and I promise to put the podcast up sooner next time.
And I also promise to make sure we're not doing it as lastminute.com. So the next two shows in 2 weeks' time, and 2 weeks after that are already available, and you'll see those at Trina's LinkedIn. So take care, everyone. Thanks, Trina. Good to see you.
Bye, Garry.